Houston, and I'm here to do my review for the haves and the have nots. Tonight's episode is entitled For the Team, and I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed the interactions with the characters, and I certainly liked it better than last week. There were a few parts that I didn't like, but as a whole, I did enjoy the episode. Absolutely. From beginning to end, I enjoyed it. So I appreciate that, Tyler. So thank you so very much. The first group of people we go to is Jim and Catherine. Jim and Catherine are in bed together after having had sex. Jim says that he loves her and holds her hand. Jim says for Catherine to tell him that she loves him back, but she doesn't say that. Catherine says there has been too much pain and heartache, and it has made love walk right out of the door. Jim thinks not our love, but Catherine disagrees. Jim states, after everything we have been through, you still don't love me. And Catherine, says that she doesn't. She just doesn't love him anymore. Jim asks, are you really going to divorce me? And Catherine says yes. Jim asks, so you just let me make a fool of myself by allowing me to sleep here with you? And Catherine gives a modest grin and she gets out of the bed and starts to get dressed. She also tells him that she's done. Catherine says this is over, even though Jim doesn't want to agree with it. Jim calls her baby, but Catherine says, you never listened to me, not about Wyatt or Amanda or anything else, and you never apologized for it. Jim then apologizes, but Catherine says it doesn't matter now. Our daughter is dead. Jim says he thinks about that every day, and the only thing that gets him through is by him thinking about Catherine and Wyatt. Catherine says that Wyatt is doing God knows what, and God knows, and is gone God knows where, with a legal amount of money. Jim says that he knows that. Catherine says Jeffrey was supposed to call her with an update, but he hasn't called, and she is not so sure that she wants him to call anyway. Catherine confesses that she's afraid and can't handle another call saying that Wyatt is dead. Jim says that he is getting help, but also asks if he is trying to leave. No, yeah. Jim says that he is getting help, but also as Catherine is trying to leave, Jim declares that he isn't going anywhere. He says that he loves her and he's not going anywhere. He says that he loves her, but Catherine does not believe him, as she is getting dressed. She is laughing at him, and Jim asks, why don't you believe me? Then Catherine asks him a question. When is her birthday? She wants him to give him a straight answer and not for him to look at his phone. It is obvious that he can't remember. Jim guesses February, but Catherine says she was born in the month of June and that Celine was born in February. She asks him another question. When is Wyatt's birthday? And he guesses it correctly, April 6th. Then she asks him another question. When is our anniversary? Jim says that he's not playing this game with her, but Kate says that this is not a game. She says, when you love someone, you know these things. Jim guesses June the 16th, and apparently he's right too. He's right and guessed correctly. Jim says he is not an idiot, but Catherine lets him know that he made a big mistake thinking that he can come over here and seduce her like it was 30 years ago, back when his hair was blonde and his jeans were tight and on display. Catherine says that you thought that I would fall for that. You thought that if we had sex, then all would be forgiven. Jim says that he came over here with the intention of making love to his wife. Catherine calls him a consistent liar and just wants him to tell the truth for once. She doesn't want him to she doesn't want him to make speeches like he was on the campaign trail. She says his manipulation did not work. Then he asks her, "Why did you participate?" She answers, "For this moment right here." She says she doesn't want to see him anymore. And she also threatens him, saying that if she ever sees him again, or that he if he would still be there after she returned, she would pick up the gun that she killed the DA with and blow him away just as easily as she just blew him. She picks up her coat and walks out of the bedroom. Now, Jim and Catherine. Last week, she said that she didn't want to be with him, and I was with her on that. But instead of going out of her front door, she went into the bedroom. I think on some level she wanted to sleep with him. I don't think it was as forced as they tried to make it out to be. But I mean, I just felt like she wanted, a turn at the wheel. And as for Jim, I as I said before last week, I think he's just trying to sink her claws into her, trying to find himself a place to live and try to, get her under his control, but apparently it did not work. And Catherine, shut him down. It's a shame she didn't do that last week before I had to endure that horrible love scene between the two of them. The next group of people we go to is Erica, David, Jeffrey, Wyatt, and Justin. David invites Erica into his apartment and she asks to go to the powder room to freshen up. David then calls Jeffrey with the details about his court case. David says a bracelet and a set of car keys were found with the body. Jeffrey admits to owning the car keys, but he says he has no idea where the bracelet came from. Jeffrey asks what should he do, and David says just stay there. Jeffrey says Veronica calls him every 5 minutes, and David says don't answer the phone. Jim says she will be pissed. Excuse me. Jeffrey says that she will be pissed off, and David says let her. David says just stay away from her. And he says that he's working on something and will tell him after it happens. Jeffrey asks, will she be hurt? And David asks Jeffrey, why would you think that? David then declares that he's not going to hurt Veronica, but orders Jeffrey to stay away from her. Now, before I carry on with this section, how does David expect for Veronica to ever get off of Jeffrey's back unless she's hurt? When Jeffrey stabbed Veronica, it sat her down. And in order for Veronica to, stay seated and not badger and abuse Jeffrey, then I think maybe hurting her would be the best option. I mean, you can't reason. David wants to reason with her and talk to her like she's not some kind of lunatic. Talk to her like a normal human being, but she's not. When you got somebody crazy like this, you have to get crazy back. Now, on with the story. Jeffrey tells him that she knows what room he is in, and David just says, go to another hotel room. They exchange I love yous and they hang up. Then Wyatt calls. He is happier than we have ever seen him since the show began. Apparently, the treatment is working. He's happy. He's doing a whole lot better, and I'm glad for that. It's good to see this good wonderful, lovely side of him. He invites Jeffrey to come to the park to take pictures with him and Anna. Jeffrey would love to, but he says that he can't. Wyatt then tells Jeffrey that Justin came by his house. Jeffrey is stunned by that and asks Wyatt what did he say. Wyatt says that he came by when he was talking to the DA and that he just stared at him. Wyatt says that Justin is weird and that Jeffrey should stay away from him. Wyatt invites him again to come out with him and Anna, but Jeffrey sadly declines. Anna says hello, and then Wyatt hangs up the phone. Then Jeffrey calls Justin over to the hotel, and Justin walks in. Justin says that he will be on his way. Jeffrey lets him know that this isn't about sex, and Justin says that he's cool with that. Back at David's apartment, Erica comes out of the bathroom and says that she shouldn't be staying there. Erica Erica appreciates his kindness, and he says that it is the least that he can do. Erica says you don't owe me anything, and David says the same. Erica disagrees, saying that you are saving my life right now. David says that she wants to know the name of that he wants to know the name of the person who attacked her. Erica thinks that it is best that she stays away from him. David says that these situations need outside pressure to be resolved, especially when a push comes to blood. Erica just doesn't want to talk about him, because she's lying to him and manipulating him and wants, for him to pour her a drink. She compliments him on the apartment and says that the river is very calming. David agrees, saying that the river is the reason he bought this place. She asks, did he decorate it himself? And David says he had help from the store. David toasts to getting better and stronger, and Erica toasts to him being a free man. David is slightly put off by Erica bringing up Veronica. David says Veronica has been abusing his son to no end. Erica thinks it has something to do with her, but David says it has not, it's not her fault. Erica is listening for a reason, but David says that it's just a family matter and it just gets under his skin. Erica suggests that David call his son, and she acts and for him to act like she is not there. And she asks him to do what you would normally do. David says that if I were to do what I normally did, I would be looking for a way to get you over here. He wants her to sleep in the bed with him every night that she is there. Erica confesses that she does not need to stay there, but she doesn't think that it is right. She wants to stay there, but she's telling him that she doesn't think it's right and proper. David very much wants her to stay and says that the apartment is big enough for the two of them. David confesses that he doesn't sleep well alone since he was married for so many years. David says again for her to stay, and Erica, relents, and says that she'll take it one night at a time. David asks if she is hungry and suggests a restaurant when Jim calls. Erica goes to explore the apartment as David talks to Jim. Jim goes whining to David about having slept with Catherine. Jim confesses that it was stupid and that he hasn't been attracted to her in years. Jim says he did it because Catherine and that crazy bitch wife of his is completely out of control. David says he could care less. Jim asks what has gotten into him, and David says he doesn't want to deal with Veronica anymore. He says that as soon as I get Jeffrey out of her talons, I am shaking her off and out of my life. Jim says, until then, we have a serious problem, and Mama Rose Malone just threw that problem in front of the press. David asks, what do you want for me to do? Jim says that we need to all get into the same room and he wants for him to talk to Veronica. Jim says he took one for the team, meaning that he, you know, bared down and slept with Catherine when he really didn't want to, and expects David to do the same. Jim wants David to talk to her or make nice with her or make love to her. It doesn't really matter to him. Just to get them in the same room so they can hash out their plan. David thinks that this is foolishness, and Jim wants him not to be so smug. Jim says this is all of our problem now, and we could all end up in the penitentiary. David understands the situation, and Jim says that he we lost a great ally in Mama Rose, but we all have the knowledge of the law to get out of this. Jim is desperate for this meeting, while apparently no one else, even cares. David agrees to call Veronica, but not to sleep with her, and will call Jim back after he has spoken with her. Jim whines again about him needing a shower, and he hangs up the phone. Oh, Jim is just. I understand what Jim is saying, but I could care less about this storyline too. It's actually my least favorite storylines. I really don't care. I never really cared about D.A. Salison, and it seems to me that there wasn't very much movement in this storyline as it should have been. I mean, I expected them to get arrested by now. I expected them to be questioned, and it really hasn't been much. D.A. George talked to Catherine for about 2 minutes, and then he talked to Wyatt. I mean, apparently George doesn't have the proof, to move forward with the investigation, and I'm just completely bored with this storyline. I've been bored with it for a very long time. The next three people we go to is Jeffrey, Justin, and Veronica. Justin comes into Jeffrey's hotel room. Jeffrey says that he wants Justin to go and get some help. Jeffrey insists, Justin insists that he is not crazy. But Jeffrey asks him, what is it then? Justin says that just because he said that he loved Jeffrey doesn't mean that he's crazy. Jeffrey says that he's a good guy and all, but following him around and all of this anger is something, says something else completely different, and it's not healthy. Jeffrey just wants Justin to get some help, and Justin is relieved, thinking that he was about to break up with him. Jeffrey says that we don't really have anything, but Justin retorts, saying that you don't have anything. I'm the one with something to lose. I'm the one that has something. Jeffrey says that it takes two. Justin asks him, you don't want to be with me anymore? And Jeffrey replies, not like this. Jeffrey once again asks him to go get help. Then Veronica lights up Jeffrey's cell phone. She apparently has been calling him back to back nonstop like some lunatic. Jeffrey eventually answers, and it is Veronica, with her normal threats. She knows that Justin is there, and she asks for Jeffrey to put, the phone on speaker. Then she insults Justin, calling him a disgusting ball of yarn, and threatens to show the videotape. Excuse me, not the videotape, but the video that she made on her cell phone. After she hangs up, Jeffrey says that Veronica is serious. Justin asks Jeffrey if you're going home, but Jeffrey says that he doesn't know just yet. But Justin should go and talk to his wife. He should talk to his wife. He should talk to his wife. I agree with that. If he does care for her at all, he shouldn't let her be blindsided by Veronica, because Veronica is a loose cannon. And if he cares for his wife, he better say something now. Don't let it come out of Veronica's mouth. Jeffrey war- Justin warns Jeffrey that if Veronica attacks his wife, he will retaliate. And Jeffrey says that she will. And of course she will. Of course she will. She lives and thrives on chaos. And as I said before, he needs to go and tell his wife something now. Don't let that woman be blindsided like that. If he does care about her, don't let her be blindsided. Now, the next three people we go to is Charles, Landon, and Candace. This was a very weird scene between Charles and Landon. Their chemistry was very strange. Very strange chemistry. They had the chemistry, but it was strange. Charles is making one of his speeches while on the campaign trail. Afterwards, on the bus, Landon and he talk. Charles' assistant gives him the pose, which pleases Charles. Landon assures him that he will win, and Charles has no doubt. Landon then apologizes to Charles for calling the police, for second guessing him, and not respecting his wishes. Charles appreciates that, says that Landon is very good at his job. Then Landon shows Charles that he has cleaned up Candace online as best he could. Landon then goes to ask about him and Candace, but ask about him and Candace, but Landon stops himself. Landon also then confesses that he's excited to be working on the campaign. Charles tells him when they are in the Oval Office, they will have a drink. That section of the story of the story and the conversation was very weird. Weird chemistry there. After Landon leaves, Charles then calls Candace to check on her. Candace says that she is on her way to the funeral home. Charles guesses that she is angry, hurt, and a little annoyed, and he says that he is sorry for that. Candace knows that he is checking on her, and she says that she is fine. She says that she needs to go, and Charles hopes that she will call her. He is available to take her call after 11 o'clock. The last, the last group we go to is Hannah, Benny, the funeral director, Candace, and Quincy Jr., who is deceased. Hannah and Benny go to the funeral home to make final arrangements. The funeral director asks, are they ready to view his body? But Hannah is not. The funeral director asks about the choice of caskets. Hannah chose the cheaper one, of course, and he knows that Mrs. Cryer is paying, so he suggests a nicer, more expensive casket. But Hannah wants the one that she chose. She also has the funeral. Yeah, he also has the funeral programs printed with the order of service on them. And Hannah agrees, to the programs. The funeral director then asks either for an open or a closed casket ceremony. Hannah says open, but Benny is unsure because of the wounds Quincy Jr. suffered. The funeral director assures him that they will prepare him and have him fit for viewing. Hannah decides on an open casket ceremony. She says that she wants for everyone to see what those thugs and their guns have done to him. Then the funeral director explains about, the reverend and the service when Candace walks in. Candace just makes this entire scene and this entire funeral arrangement section all about her. She just made it completely and totally about her, and she just made a mess of it. I have been a fan of Candace from the beginning, but she was really working my last nerves with this one. She made it all about what she wanted instead of what Quincy Jr. needed. Now, Hannah, requested an open casket ceremony. Now, if they're going to open the casket and have him be viewed, the funeral really needs to be soon. They embalm his body, and they try to preserve his body as best as possible, but the body will start to decay and much faster than anyone thinks. And seeing as it's going to be an open casket ceremony, they need to have the funeral very soon. And she just makes it into a farce. She just makes it into a zoo, and she was just working my last nerves. I was just so disappointed in Candace in this. She just made a mess and made it all about herself. And it was really, really a sad scene. The funeral director introduces himself and says it must be a hard time for the family, and Candace says, "You have no idea." Benny says that they have a casket for him, chosen by Hannah, but Candace wants the opposite. Candace wants the blue casket because it was his favorite color. Hannah asks, "Do you have the money to pay for it?" And Candace replies, "Do you?" Hannah says she wants the white one and Candace wants the blue one. The funeral director says that he can make some calls, about, a discount. But Hannah says that she made her choice. She wanted the white casket. Candace, wants him to go and make the calls, and he eventually does. Benny doesn't want her to start this now, but Candace says she wants to bury her son. Hannah challenges Candace, saying, "Now you want to step in?" And Candace responds, "Don't you dare." Benny tries to calm Candace down, but she rolls on anyway. Candace blames Hannah for the death, wondering why she wasn't hit with a bullet herself, which is a good question. Which is a good question. I'll give her that. Candace says that she did not protect him. Candace says Hannah did this only to spite her and to hurt her and to get even with her. Benny then leaps to Hannah's defense, saying that we almost died trying to protect her child. He was there and he saw it, and that Hannah did more for Quincy than she ever did. Benny says that he's tired of this bullshit and he just doesn't want to hear it anymore. He tells her Warlock kicked down the door looking for her and that he could have killed us all for what she did. Benny says, Benny says you do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And that is the definition of insanity, which is true. He's absolutely right in that. He doesn't want to hear it, and he is sick of her. Candace screams at him, saying that she is sick of him. She says that you have been relying on me since she stepped out on her own, calling her, begging her for money, saying how expensive everything was, sharing his fairy tale dreams with her. Benny says that I wasn't trying to beg you for money. That he was, he was talking to her because he loved her and he wanted to share his dreams with her. But he never wanted her to sell her ass to get money. Yeah, and that's true. I mean, she's obviously trying to put the blame on Benny for her conning and scheming and her prostitution, but it's really no fault but her own. Candace takes offense to that, saying that you've been talking to your mother. Candace wonders why she even bothers, and Benny wonders the same thing and tells her that flipping it around on them is not working. The funeral, the funeral director returns, saying that he can get a discount for the casket. The funeral director, you know, asks, "Should I bill Mrs. Cryer for the difference?" And Hannah says no. Candace realizes Catherine is paying and she is fully against it. She wants to pay herself, but we all know Candace has no money. I don't even know why she's protesting this. She ought to be thankful someone wants to pay for her child's funeral. The funeral director says that he needs the money today for the funeral tomorrow. Candace says she can pay when she obviously cannot. Benny asks her how is she going to pay for this funeral. Then Hannah says you've been blackmailing the man that's running for president. Hannah says that she saw him on television saying that he knew the family personally. Hannah says that that is why Homeland Security and the Secret Service arrested Benny because she had been blackmailing a presidential candidate. Candace doesn't answer, but she insists, on the blue one. She just, is determined to have that blue casket, even though she can't pay for it. Hannah asks, tells her, I guess you would rather steal. I guess you would rather steal, money from someone than take it as a gift. And then Candace retorts, telling her, saying that you would rather have crumbs off the white man's table. And if I was Hannah, I would have slapped her for that. I was really, really upset with Candace. I mean, she really, really stepped out of line with this one. Candace says, go step and fetch somewhere else. Benny tries to speak and talk to the funeral director, but she completely talks over him. Then she asks, where will Quincy be buried? And the funeral director says, the garden. But Candace says that she wants him buried at Sims. I guess I'm assuming that that's a nice, very nice upscale cemetery. Then she tears up the funeral programs. She tears up the funeral programs. Then she bellows that she wants the blue casket, making a scene, making it all about her. Then she lifts up the white casket door. And there is Quincy there lying dead, lying there in the white casket. Candace is shocked by what she sees and then she starts crying. Benny tries to tell her that we came here to view the body and make final arrangements. She screams and she hoops and she hollers, and that is where the episode ends. Oh, what a mess. Candace just. Thank you for watching my video, everyone. My MVP of the night is Wyatt because he was so happy and he seemed so healthy and so just so happy. And it was the happiest that we have ever seen him throughout this entire show. I mean, he just looked and acted like a totally different person, and I'm glad that he's doing so well. So, my MVP of tonight for that reason is Wyatt. Thank you very much for watching my review. The next episode will be the season finale called The Veronica Show. So Veronica is going to be all over this episode, and it's just going to be her crazy and acting selfish and cold and just making a show. Come back next week for my next video. If you like my video, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will be back next week for the season finale. Enjoy your life as I do, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much.